Kevin Durant's most overlooked weapon will quietly transform the Rockets. I would imagine that every Houston Rockets fan is buzzing with anticipation to see Kevin Durant put on their jersey this season. For years, Rockets supporters have dreamt of pairing a proven superstar with their young, rising core, and now it's finally reality. Much of the conversation around Durant's arrival naturally centers on his offensive brilliance. He is, after all, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, a walking 30 points per night who can thrive in isolation, pick and roll, or as a catch-and-shoot option. But while Houston fans are right to salivate over how KD's offense will elevate the Rockets into contender status, there's another part of his game that deserves just as much attention. Durant's defense, long overlooked and often undervalued, may quietly become the Rockets' most transformative weapon. Why KD's defense flies under the radar? The story of Durant's defensive reputation is one of being overshadowed by greatness. When your offensive resume includes MVPs, 2 Finals MVPs, 4 scoring titles, and a legitimate case as the most unstoppable one-on-one scorer ever, it's easy for fans and media to focus exclusively on that side of the ball. The spotlight burns so brightly on Durant's offense that his defensive excellence often fades into the background. Yet, ask coaches, players, or scouts who study the game closely, and you'll hear a very different story. Durant has been an elite defender for much of his career, even if he doesn't always get the headlines to prove it. Take Frank Vogel, for example. A year and a half ago, while still coaching the Phoenix Suns, Vogel didn't hesitate to highlight Durant's defensive impact when I asked him about it during a press conference. His words weren't lukewarm praise, they were definitive. He's one of the best in the league in ISO defense and on-ball defense. He's really long, he's physical, he doesn't get enough credit for that side of the ball. He should get all defensive team recognition this year. I'd be very disappointed if he doesn't. Those aren't empty words. That's a coach with a championship pedigree calling it exactly how he sees it. What makes Durant a defensive weapon? So what sets Durant apart defensively? It starts with his extraordinary physical tools. Officially listed at 6'11", but widely believed to be closer to 7 feet, Durant combines his height with a staggering 7'5" wingspan. That wingspan allows him to contest shots few other forwards can reach and makes him a nightmare for smaller guards attempting to score over him. Even when an opponent gets a step on him, Durant's length and timing allow him to recover and erase scoring opportunities. Add in his lateral quickness and surprising agility for his size, and he's capable of switching onto multiple positions without being a liability. But beyond his physique, Durant is a high IQ defender. He processes the game at an elite level, anticipating actions before they unfold. Whether it's reading a ball handler's tendencies, sliding into help position, or rotating to cover a shooter, KD is almost always in the right place at the right time. That awareness and decision-making are traits that separate great defenders from merely athletic ones, filling the void left by Dillon Brooks. For the Rockets, Durant's defense comes at a perfect time. The team already had one of the NBA's strongest defensive identities under head coach Ime Udoka, who demands effort and accountability on that end of the floor. But they did lose their vocal defensive leader in Dillon Brooks, who left for the Suns this offseason. Brooks may have been polarizing offensively, but no one questioned his defensive intensity and communication. That leaves a hole in Houston's lineup, both in terms of execution and leadership. Durant might not bring the same brash, fiery energy as Brooks, but he can fill that void in a different way with his intelligence, versatility, and quiet leadership. And make no mistake, the younger Rockets will look to KD not just for how to score, but for how to defend at a championship level. Players like Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., and Amen Thompson now get a front row seat to watch how a future Hall of Famer uses his length, timing, and discipline to tilt games defensively. Helping Alperen Sengun. Perhaps no Rocket will benefit more from Durant's presence than Alperen Sengun. Sengun has blossomed into an offensive hub, often drawing comparisons to Nikola Jokic for his vision, touch, and creativity. But defensively, he still has lapses, sometimes struggling in pick-and-roll coverage, sometimes late rotating to protect the rim. Enter Kevin Durant. As a long, mobile, and instinctive help defender, KD can erase many of those mistakes. If Sengun gets beaten on the perimeter or mistims a rotation, Durant has the tools to step in, contest, or even block shots at the rim. That safety net will allow Sengun to play more freely, knowing he has an elite defender watching his back. A perfect fit for Udoka's system. Ime Udoka's defensive schemes are built around switching, communication, and versatility. That's why Durant fits so seamlessly. Unlike stars who thrive in systems built around funneling everything toward a single shot-blocking big, KD can guard multiple positions, stay engaged on the perimeter, and anchor lineups where everyone can switch. Durant doesn't need to rack up gaudy block or steal numbers to have an impact. His presence alone alters shots, deters drivers, and forces offenses to rethink their approach. When paired with Houston's already tough defenders like Smith, Thompson, and Tari Eason, the Rockets suddenly have the makings of one of the most suffocating defensive units in the league. The overlooked key to contention. At 36, Durant isn't the same springy athlete he was in Oklahoma City or Golden State, but his defensive intelligence and length remain elite. More importantly, he understands what it takes to win championships. On a young Rockets team with so much offensive talent, it's his defense, not just his scoring, that could be the difference between being a playoff team and being a true contender. So as the new season approaches, Rockets fans should keep their eyes on more than just Durant scoring totals. The highlight dunks and silky mid-range jumpers will always be there, but what might truly transform this team is the quiet, calculated, and often underappreciated work Durant does on the other end of the floor. Because while everyone expects Kevin Durant to light up the scoreboard, it's his overlooked weapon, defense, that might just power Houston's rise to the top of the Western Conference.